Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Innerviews. Today, I am very excited to be introducing you to my friend, Donna McCallum. And Donna is the Fairy Godmother. So, Donna, tell us a little bit more about how you became the Fairy Godmother and what she does for people out there.
Oh, Melanie, it is so fabulous to be here. So thank you for inviting me. And yes, believe it or not, I am a fairy godmother, and you believe it because you know it and you've seen it for the years that we've known each other, which has been over a decade. And I've been a fairy godmother since 2005. And what does that mean? Well, what that originally meant was that I started by helping people get clear on their dreams and goals and vision for their life and how to make it happen. And this was in 2005. And I started by doing workshops and seminars and really helping people get clear on their dreams and goals and then how to make it happen. And then because it's been a 15-year journey for me of being a fairy godmother, of course, any work, career, business evolves and morphs and changes. And so over time, I now teach in 3 areas, still dreams, goals, vision, and how to make it happen. I also teach in the area of money and finance. And I've been doing that for now 10 years because one of the biggest blocks that I found that most of my clients had around their dreams and goals was money. Yes, I'd love to live my dreams and goals, but I still got bills to pay. I've still got this to do. What about the money? And so I started teaching in that area, helping people to build financial stability initially, and then financial independence and ultimately financial freedom. And then in the last few years, I've expanded into the next body of work that I do, which is around abundance. And my latest program is called the 7 Levels of Abundance, which uses the chakra system. It's a more mind, body, soul program, and it uses the chakra system to diagnose where scarcity lies. And scarcity, not just from a financial perspective, but relationships, creativity, purpose, spirituality, whatever the scarcity is, and then how to shift into our fullest abundance. So I have been super blessed over the last 15 years to have touched over 17,000 people in 42 countries. Most of my programs now are online. And so what's fascinating is the first time I ever ran an online program was 2009. And now we find ourselves in 2020 and COVID time, and suddenly a whole lot of people are like, there's such a thing as an online program. And I'm like, yes, yay!
Finally, you threw that barrier to entry.
Exactly. But the beautiful thing is that I've been able to reach people around the world doing the work online. I still run retreats and do seminars and workshops sometimes just because I love that connection with people face to face. But most of my work is now online, and I run all different programs in those 3 areas, whether it's dreams and goals or money and finance or the 7 levels of abundance.
And you've done amazing work. It's been so magical to watch your journey. I think the first time I saw you speak was 2008. And I still thought to myself, wow, how's this lady building a thing like this? It took some, can I say, balls to stand up there and go, wave your magic wand in front of the corporate space and go, I'm the fairy godmother.
Yeah, and I'd wear wings and wave my wand and be like, woohoo! And one of the biggest gifts that gave me was because I had this vision of this is what I need to do in the world. And because I had just such courage from that vision. It was such a bold, crazy vision, but it was so powerful for me. Firstly, it took me a year to actually wear wings and start waving a wand. So, like all of these things, often we see people when they're in the middle of their career or towards the end of their career or in a certain level of success, and we think, oh, look, it's always been like that for them. And, I think it's really important to acknowledge that all of this is a process and a journey. So the balls and the courage also took time for me. I had this vision of being a fairy godmother, and then I sort of had to grow into it. And as I got my first pair of wings and was waving a wand and saying, I'm a fairy godmother, one of the biggest benefits for me was getting me unattached to what people think.
Okay.
Because some people loved it, and some people were ambivalent to it, and some people absolutely loathed it. And what was fascinating for me would be walking in a shopping center or walking in a public space with my wings on, like going to do a talk or going to do a workshop or a seminar. And I'd be walking, and you would literally see people, they would see me with the wings. You could see the disconnect in the brain. What's going on? There's a woman. Because I used to wear a business suit with wings. You know, it wasn't just like it was crazy out. It would be a business suit with wings. And then people would either be like wide-eyed with delight, or they would cross to the other side of the corridor and sort of sweep around me. And it was so fascinating because it was also such a almost telltale for like, who's my market and who isn't? Like, who are my potential clients and who aren't?
Yes.
And it very quickly allowed me to be like, well, if you don't get it and you don't like it, okay.
Yes.
It took quite a bit of inner work for me to get to that point, to just be like, nah. But once I got to that point, it was so liberating for me as a person. Be like, some people will love you, some people will not love you. Fine. Find your people, find your tribe. Great.
It's a very instant litmus test that kind of cuts through all the layers that people might normally otherwise put between you and them.
Yeah. So it was very much, is it, you know, are you magical? Do you believe in like, wow, yes, possibility, and, you know, a little crazy, a little off the wall, a little,
Yes. I actually remember going to a Markex once, and I used to always be the rainbow lady at that time.
Exactly.
And I remember walking into a stand, and the guy who was in the stand in his very like neutral branded mainstream clothing backed all the way into the back corner to try and get away from me, and then said to me, the words just tumbled out. He was like, "How can you bear to be seen that way?" And so I totally get what you're talking about. But I also think that it's possibly one of your strongest tools, because it very quickly sorts for you who your market is and who it isn't.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
And now you've grown. And how many pairs of wings do you have now?
So here's the fascinating thing. So at the peak, I had 17 different pairs of wings, and I had all sorts of different colors, and I had South African flag wings, and I had all sorts. And last year, I got a very clear message, because one of the things that I believe in is that our inspired thought and our intuition can be such a superpower if you really listen to it. And I got very clear intuitive message: stop wearing the wings. So I've stopped wearing the wings. So I've de-winged, and it's quite fascinating because my designer, who designs all my websites and banners and emails and different things, you know, she keeps getting the brief, oh, we're doing this program, please de-wing it. You know, so she's taking the wings off all of the pictures. I was wearing actual wings, but now she's just sort of etching out all the wings. And so I'm still known as the Fairy Godmother, but it was very clear for me, like, it feels like they don't need to be, like, I have them, they're here. And I believe that it's important to follow the intuition and what's next and what the feeling is. And so for me, it was like, I don't need the wings.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. You've outgrown them.
I'm not sure I've outgrown them, but there's like a shift, there's a change, there's a shift. Perfect.
Now, because I know you have also come to motherhood, and you've come to motherhood quite late in your life, which in itself is a story. Would you like to share that with us?
Yeah, so I'm 44 and I've just become a new mama. And, you know, one of the blessings of being a fairy godmother and helping people with their dreams and goals is that through this process over the last 15 years, so many of my own dreams and goals have come true. And because I'm in this constant process of helping people with their own creating vision, I'm constantly in a revision of what is my vision and what are my next level dreams and goals, etc. And I'm also constantly in this work, like, where are the glitches? Because, you know, there's some dreams and visions, and all of us have had this experience. There's some things that we really want, and boom, no problem, it happens. And then there are other things that you really want, and like for some reason it's struggly, and it's hard work, and what's going on. And that's been my consistent exploration and discovery through doing this work. What are those things that create the glitches, and how do we have the tools very quickly and easily to shift through those? And that's what I do in my programs, practical tools for like shifting through whatever the glitch is, diagnosing the glitch, and not getting too caught up in the glitch, but being aware of it and then letting it go, and having tools for shifting through it. And so one of the things that I always knew is that I was never like, I must be a mother. I always knew that I would enjoy being a mother if the timing was right. And I always knew it was not now. So people would say to me, would you like children? And I would say, yeah, not children, one. I'm very happy to have one, but not now. And, you know, probably later. And when the time is right, then I'd love to have one. But I'd really love to be in the right relationship and have the right partner. And if I meet the partner too late, then so be it. And if it's divine will for me to have it later, then great. And so it has been. And one of the most amazing things is it was in 2017 that I was like, right, now I'm ready. And at that stage I was 42. And I was like, right, I'm ready. And so I created a dream map, just like I teach my, you know, which is also known as a vision board, just like I teach my students to do. And on it was very clear, well, all the adventures that I wanted and business stuff, but also very clearly a child. And then I applied some of my own processes that I teach people to that. And then last year, I ran my 7 Levels of Abundance program for the first time, which uses the chakra system. And what was absolutely fascinating to me is it's a long program. It's a 7-month program, because I really love to go deep with my students. And it's a deep healing, shifting program. It's a proper transfer. It's not a quick fix. In 3 weeks, you're going to 10x your life nonsense. It is like deep, profound, sustainable shifts, because that's what I'm interested in. Like, what can we do that's going to be sustainable? And, you know, as human beings, we hope and pray for quick shifts, and occasionally they happen, but often things have got to be put into place so they become sustainable. And so in this program, over the 7 months, we do 1 chakra per month, which is one of the energy centers per month. And we were in month 2, which is sacral chakra, which is all about reproduction, primal creativity, pleasure and pain, shadow work, but it is absolutely about conception and reproduction. And during that month, whoop, I got pregnant. And we were doing all of the exercises, and I was facilitating the program, but I was also, you know, I'd created the program, I was facilitating it, but I was also doing all of the exercises with the participants, and got pregnant. It was just absolutely fascinating. And I had a partner who, I still have a partner, who is a bit older than me. And he thought it was completely, and he was like, yes, I'm open to the possibility. But he thought, well, a 44-year-old and a 56-year-old, isn't it, you know, what are the chances? little did he realize.
Pretty good, it seems.
Yeah, little did he realize that, you know, I do teach people about manifestation and having your dreams come true. And yeah, it happened. And the amazing thing was that, you know, he was like, yep, I'm open to the possibility. And boom, it happened. We hadn't been trying. It wasn't like we're trying. It was just we're open to the possibility and clearly asked. And because there was this whole thing around, and because I wasn't desperate to be a mother, it was also much easier to manifest. So this is one of the things that I find with manifesting and creating your reality. The things that you are holding onto tightly, the things that if there's any kind of desperation energy, or like, I badly, badly, badly want this, please, you have to shift that energy, because it's that energy that keeps you from being able to receive it. It's like you're grabbing on too tight to it, and you can't actually open your hand. to receive it. Yeah.
That's very, very valuable insight for people watching. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you. So how has it been? Because now you've gone from having all of your time to yourself for your business to now needing to juggle your business and motherhood.
Yeah, having a child has been the best thing that's ever happened to my business. I can't actually believe it. I thought it was going to be a real craziness. And so the beautiful thing is also, because I teach people about money, my personal money situation is in a situation where I don't have to work. Like I can really take time off. And so I had promised myself that depending on how my motherhood journey was going, I would decide whether I was going to take 4 months maternity leave, which I did, definitely. But if I wanted to prolong it, then I will prolong it, and give myself that gift, because I am 44. He is my only, and I really want to be present for this child. This is like the next level. And because I'm 44, I've already had so much of my career. I've already done so much. It didn't feel like, it didn't feel like I needed to give up anything. And being able to turn the volume down on my programs or courses felt okay. And like when I'm ready, I can turn the volume up again. And luckily, over 15 years, I've built a business where that's possible. And so, yeah, having Luke has been amazing, because then COVID hit. In fact, he's a coronavirus baby, essentially. He was born a week before lockdown. And then we all went into lockdown. And then, fascinatingly, my partner, Jeff, his business disintegrated due to lockdown, which is the story for many people out there, I know. Thoroughly unexpected at the beginning of this year. He was like, yay, this is going to be one of my best business years ever. He's a marine engineer, and he's in the oil and gas industry, and he normally travels all over the place. And so his business just disintegrated. New baby, business disintegrating. I'm on maternity leave, may or may not go back into my business. And so then suddenly, we had this sit down, big chat, and said, well, it makes much more sense for me to start working again. He needs to reinvent himself, and the time it's going to take for him to reinvent himself. Well, actually, let me start working again. So after 4 months, Jeff said, okay, he will do daddy daycare from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. So for 4 hours a day, I'm working on my business and in my business. And it has been miraculous for me, because I only have 4 hours. I don't have 8 hours, or sometimes a little stretch of 10 hours or whatever. I only have 4 hours. I am super focused. I have a little hack that I have started using. And that is, I write down the night before 3 tasks that are going to move my business forward. Just 3. Those are the tasks that I need to do the next day. Just 3. If there's any time left over, great, I can go on to other things. But that's it. And this kind of level of getting in there, focus, not reading other people's emails, not being on social media, seeing what other people are doing, not getting distracted. There's no time for distraction. There's no time for any of that nonsense. And I'm just like hyper-focused, loving those 4 hours, loving getting to be in my business, do stuff, and then run my programs, be with students, coach them, do the marketing, all of that. Then from 1 o'clock onwards, spending the afternoons with Luke, loving being a mama, being so present with him, not thinking about my business. Now, I can't remember a time, because I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, I can't remember a time where for hours and hours and hours and hours, I don't think of my business. There's always been some little bits going on in the back. And spending time with Luke has been so good for me, because it's taken my attention and focus away from my business. Like whatever's happened in the morning must now sort itself out. Now I'm with Luke.
Yes.
And so the next morning when I come back into my business, I'm like, yay. And it feels so brilliant to have it so like, this is the block. And now this is not the block. This is time for something else. I've been looking for work-life balance my whole life. And one of the things that's been very clear to me is that one of my big addiction throughout my whole life has been work. And one of the things that I teach my students in the 7 Levels of Abundance program is that that's around the root chakra. So work addiction sits in that in that place. And this has really helped to balance that out. You know, I've been working on tools to balance that out for years and have succeeded to a certain extent, but this is like a completely different thing.
Game
and what's
changer.
fascinating for me, is that my business is flourishing. The results are just amazing. Despite the external COVID, Corona times that we're in.
Do you think that work addiction is something that's kind of ingrained in our culture?
Absolutely. Yes. I think maybe more than work addiction, busyness addiction. Needing to be busy. So for some people that shows up as work, but if you don't really like work, it might not show up as work. It might show up as something else. But yes, having to do something, having to be busy, not being able to be alone or on your own, or just still, busyness. And I think that's one of the things that's really shown up during this COVID time and lockdown, is people have, suddenly had to be at home, suddenly didn't have all the ability to be busy, and well, what do I need to do? I should be doing stuff.
Yes.
What do you mean I can just be at home? What do you mean I can just rest? What?
And what does rest look like for you?
Oh, this has been a beautiful journey for me also over the last decade, learning to rest, learning to carve out time. So definitely holidays, like chunks of rest. And I have to be very strict with myself we're on holiday, no laptop, no checking in, no email on phone, no Facebook on phone, just holiday. Rest also means weekends off, rest and and chilling out, chatting, doing what I love, yogaing, now spending time with Luke, sleeping.
Yes.
Sleeping.
Yes.
Long lie-ins, not anymore. Obviously now I have a baba, but just rest, reading.
I the younger part of my life, I used to be awake a lot at night doing stuff. And I've recently taken that back for myself. And now when I hear entrepreneurs talking about the fact that they were up until 2 o'clock in the morning just working harder, I just want to say to them, just be kind to yourself,
When I hear that kind of stuff, it makes me want to vomit, really, because I did it and I've been there, and it isn't the answer and it doesn't get the results. An addiction to doing, and there's an addiction to thinking that action is what creates results. And one of the things that I've learned more and more as I continue to work with people, and as we continue to work at a body, mind, soul level. So yes, in the physical action, but also at an energetic level and at a thought level and at a shifting beliefs level. One of the biggest realizations that I have is that energy is often way more powerful, is way more powerful than action. And if you get the energy and the action aligned, then that's when you have quantum results. That's when you have quantum shifts. So working at an energetic level is as important as the action. And so many people are taking action without having worked at an energetic level, and and getting burnt out and wondering why there are no results. And then a lot of people are doing energetic stuff, but not translating that into action. And so it's really about being able to balance and have a combination of both of those.
That makes a lot of sense. So what do you think, in your experience, because you've worked with a lot of people, what are the most common challenges for your customers that you deal with?
So, obviously because I work in the area of money is one of the biggest challenges. And it's one of the biggest challenges that I see on this planet. For most people, money is the master, even if they don't want money to be the master. And most people are slaves to money, unfortunately. And money is a terrible master, but it is a brilliant servant. And as soon as you start being able to shift your relationship to money, so that you can start to master your money and have it serve you and have it serve your life, your whole life shifts. So, that's been one of my, the biggest challenge that people have. Even people who do my dreams and goals work, often there's an underlying thing around money. So I'd love to live my dreams. I'd love, I have these goals, but there's a lack of resource. And that often is articulated as there's not enough money.
I've actually, with my Upcycle Class Collective group, we've actually, I've seen an interesting mindset there where I've interviewed a few people who are working with upcycled resources. And they say that the restraints of working with limited resources has actually, in a way, unlocked things for them, because it's an infinite journey of discovery and invention.
Yes, and innovation.
Yes, as opposed to a space of lack. And it really has shown me that it is a mindset shift.
Yeah.
It's not about the lack of resources, it's about how you view the resources that you have.
Yeah, very much so, which is one of the reasons why I started this new body of work, the 7 Levels of Abundance, because I've been working with people for 8 years around money and finances. I've been working on my own money and finances. And then and if you'd said to me in 2017, Donna, are you abundant? I would have said to you, absolutely. I've been doing this work with people and my business is thriving and my health is great. And, my relationship is good and my life is fabulous. My business is great. And then something happened in 2018, which completely shook me. And I didn't realize how deeply it had shaken me until I started doing crazy patterning that I'd had from my teenage years and my 20s, which were really real workaholic burnout years. And what happened was day zero. And for those of you who are not from South Africa and aren't in the Western Cape, day zero is the water in the dams was getting so low that in the January of 2018, there was this big press campaign that happened where the government was saying day zero is coming, and day zero is when the city runs out of water or the province runs out of water and there will be no water. And at the time, and I know better than like buying into media hype and all of that stuff, and I was, not taking it on, but at a root chakra level, at a safety and survival level, at a subconscious level, this thing was rocking my world. And I started to move into those workaholic patterns. I started to move into that crazy busyness and action. I started to move into the scarcity, what you're talking about, the scarcity programming, not even realizing I was doing it. And it was only about 9 months later when I'd kind of come out of that cycle. Sometimes you go through these shadowland cycles and then you pop your head out and you're like, ah. But I realized, I can have millions in the bank. I can have millions in assets. I can be financially completely sorted and still have this scarcity fear, this terror. Oh my goodness. No. Let me start working on that. And so, a lot of the work that I do with my students comes and is channeled through from my own life experience, my own work. I had been working with the chakras for over a decade, over 2 decades. And so in my personal life, in my own personal development and spiritual development, and I thought, okay, let me start applying that. And then 9 months later, started sharing that with my students and all the shifts. So abundance is absolutely, it's not just about money. If there's a mindset, there's an energy shift. It's energetic and it's mindset.
So for people watching who don't understand what energy means.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
What does energy mean to me? Well, everything in the world is energy, right? So this video that you're watching in the little pixels that are coming through your computer via the internet, that's all energy. You know, the chair that you're sitting on, Melanie's energy, I'm energy, we're all energy, and we are vibrating energy that once it's slowed down looks really physical. And when it's, you know, so slowed down energy is physical matter, and we can experience that with our senses. We can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, feel it. Then the next level of speed of energy up is thought energy, right? So we can also tune into that with our mind. And then the next level up from that is spiritual energy, whatever you want to call spiritual energy. And so for some people that might be God or consciousness or higher self or Allah or whatever that is for you, or the divine, or angels, whatever that energy is. But we have these devices to tap into the energy. We have our bodies that tap into physical energy. We have the mind that taps into thought energy. And we have the soul, which taps into spiritual energy. And because we're a combination of body, mind, soul, we are reading energies all the time. So some of that energy is physical energy, some of it's mental energy, some of it's spiritual energy. So a lot of our current world consciousness is very centered around the scientific, logical, rational, physical stuff. If you can see it, then it exists. You know, and in the last 10 years, we've been getting more into the mental realms, you know, so in the last 30 years, we've been more into the psychological and mental realms, understanding that our psychologies, our mindsets, our beliefs, all are actually what creates our realities. And in the last 10 years, been getting more into the spiritual realms and how that spiritual energy creates our realities. So that's what I mean by energy. It's being able to read at all three levels and work from there. And acknowledge that you're not just your body, you're not just your mind, and you're not just your soul.
Thank you. That's a very clear explanation. I think it's going to help a lot of people who weren't sure exactly what you were talking about. Great. So Donna, I notice that we are getting near to the end of our time. I could talk to you all day because your energy is infectious.
Thank you.
So if anybody is looking for you online or would like to sign up for your programs, where can they find you?
So they can find me online at Fairy Godmother Inc., INC, like Fairy Godmother Incorporated.com. And if you go onto my website, there are tons of free resources. So there are free audios. There is a free video series around helping you get some clarity around your dreams and goals. There are videos and blog posts. So go on there. That's the best place to initially connect in with me. I am on Facebook as the Fairy Godmother, Donna McCallum, the Fairy Godmother. I'm also on Instagram as Flowing Fairy Godmother. But really my website, if you're wanting resource, if you're wanting to get stuck in, if you're wanting to know more about my programs and what's coming up, absolutely, fairygodmotherinc.com. But I think you're going to put it in the notes below this video.
Absolutely,
as well.
Absolutely, yes, I am going to. And whenever I share it also, I'll put the link in for you. And fantastic. For people watching, I have watched a number of Donna's videos. She doesn't know, but I actually stalk her. I consume, you know, I've unsubscribed from a lot of emails over the years, but yours, I just never can hit that button because I know that somewhere along the line, you're going to deliver a gem for me at exactly the right time. So
awesome.
I just hang on because, and I can honestly say that even your free resources are incredible, and you're incredibly generous with them. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I love serving. I love helping. And I also know that able to afford my programs and be able to do them. And there are tons of others, thousands of others that I can help, you know, just with the free resources. And I've got the time, I've got the availability, I've got the stuff. So yeah, I love doing that. And the free webinars that I do also, look out for those. You know, 3 or 4 times a year, I do big free webinars, and they, you know, I always get such positive, powerful feedback from people who get huge value from those.
I also love the sound of your 7-month program. personally myself, I know if I really want to shift something, then I need to do repetitive work. So I think that 7-month program will be worth every cent that people pay for it to be able to make significant shifts.
Yeah, I mean, I have some programs that are much shorter. They are 21 days, or they are 5 weeks or 9 weeks. But a lot of my students were saying, we'd love to do deeper work. And I find that being able to do a program over 7 months, also, it's not jam-packed, it's not overwhelming. There's a lot of space, you know, to be able to apply things and do them. And a lot of my students have just said, wow, what a gift to be able to do things, you know, slowly at that level.
Thank you so much for your time today. It was such a privilege to speak to you. And I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. Yay. Mwah. Big love. Bye.